We demand poo-poo Bennett? All right. We're going to start with her most recent videos. Her most recent video is Make the Family Great Again. And I just have to say, yeah, she looks a bit different from when we saw her last. And let's hear what she has to say.
They're not giving their daughters, and they're not telling them that motherhood is an option. What does it mean to be pro-woman? It is...
Yeah. Nobody's telling daughters about their ability to have babies.
To encourage women to do what makes them happy, which always ends up being a mother.
Guys, have any of you ever encountered like someone who has kids who's just like, holy fuck, I wish I didn't have kids? Why is she talking so slow? Because she's really struggling to get ideas out. Also, I didn't know Xanderhall was making this video. You know, this off-brand Xanderhall logo.
What's really important in life, it's not lowering our taxes. It's not having a good real estate market. It's not, you know, the jobs report. While those things are important, what should come first is promoting family. And conservatives don't do a good job at doing that. When I say conservatives have not done a good job on promoting family, it's because we have...
True. This is very slow. This is very slow. You know what? We'll try it at 1.5 speed.
Fallen into the left's language, and we have fallen into this idea of liberty, doing whatever you want, and each person striving towards the
name of your channel is literally Liberty Hangout. Wait.
Idea of liberty, doing whatever you want, and each person striving towards an economic goal. So conservative.
Sorry, just imagine the lack of awareness when saying liberty, and like Liberty Hangout is right at the bottom of the screen.
You know, do what you want, here. Capitalism is always something that comes up first, and making as much money as you can. So when we talk about our daughters, and when we...
Yeah, I wonder why making as much money as you can might be a relevant thing under capitalism. I wonder why that might be, chat.
We talk about how conservatives are raising their daughters. They're not giving their daughters, and they're not telling them that motherhood is an option for a career. You don't have to chase after this dream of making so much money. You don't...
Yeah, just... Chat, have you ever considered just marrying rich? You know... You know, this feels like the conservative woman's equivalent of saying of like, you know, that dude bro friend of yours who watches like a movie and is like, well, in this situation, I would simply sweep the leg and disarm him flawlessly. You know, that's the trad wife's version of that is have you ever just considered marrying rich, sweaty? Like, it's both are unrealistic, and both are probably going to get you killed if that's what you are pursuing.
Have to be rich to have a family, monetary wise. You don't have to have all the money in the world to have a happy home and to provide for your children. There's...
Yeah, fuck it. Fuck it. Kids aren't expensive. How expensive is having a kid in the US? Let's see. In the US, the average cost of raising a child through the age of 17 is $233,000. This figure is based on data compiled from the most recent Expenditures on Children by Families report completed by the United States Department of Agriculture. So, yeah, I don't know. Do you have $250,000 laying around? How long ago was that data from? That data is from 2021, my dude. That data is from last year.
How much more you can give them just from yourself and the values you instill in them, and especially a faith.
Look, if they just get hungry, take a knife, peel off some of your flesh, feed them. It's not that hard. I mean, it's almost like I wonder if we have a figure on this. How expensive was Kaitlyn Bennett's wedding? Wait. I totally missed this story. Kaitlyn Bennett claims a hotel employee stole $1,500 from her room. Some people think she's lying to raise money for her wedding. Holy fuck. Oh, gosh. I was staying at a Comfort Suites in Newport for the Trump rally in Cincinnati, and someone stole $1,500 of my wedding money while we were out of the room. I know an employee went into the room while we were out because I told her someone left clothes in the closet. When she returned to her room, Bennett says all of her cash was gone. I called the cops and they laughed and said they probably couldn't do anything since it was cash. The hotel employee was supposedly rude to me when I checked in. Oh, fuck, man. I guess they came and took it. Yeah, honestly, why did you leave $1,500 in cash in your room? It seems like a bad idea.
Their faith that you can give them. There's no one else that can give them that except for you.
And you know what? If you are, for example, an underpaid hotel employee who has kids to feed, sure, it's not that bad being poor. You just, go into Kaitlyn Bennett's room, take $1,500, and walk on your merry way. It's fine. Have I seen her husband? I feel like the last time I looked at her husband, I just felt like he was a beard. I felt like Kaitlyn Bennett was a beard. Like, he looked like he might be a closet homosexual.
And these things are not pressed, I feel like, among conservative influencers, YouTubers, whatever. Yeah. What do you hear about women when conservatives get up and talk about them? Women are strong and they can be CEOs and they want to get college degrees and the lowest ever unemployment.
Yenzo, it's because Kaitlyn Bennett has money. As evidenced by the fact that she just carries $1,500 around with her.
Rate for women. I was one of those people who did that. When the left says Republicans hate women because they want them to, do this and that, and they just want them to have babies and they want to force them to have children, all this stuff. We have been counteracting that for generations by saying, no, look at this woman. She's the CEO. And look at this. We think childcare should be available everywhere. We want women to get into college and do.
Yeah. Republicans, very well known for supporting free child care for all. The Republican Party, very well known for pushing for child care to be made freely available to all women and people with children. A very well-known Republican platform. Jesus Christ. What world does Kaitlyn Bennett live in where that is the case?
All this stuff. What does it mean to be pro-woman? It is to encourage women to do what makes them happy, which all...
Oh, wait, did she just wants childcare to exist? I mean, that it does right now.
Always ends up being a mother. We are built for that. God made our bodies to have children. Every part of us, our hormones, our brains, our body parts, our body is meant to feed children and to bear them and to raise them. When women breastfeed, there's a hormone, oxytocin, that gets released in.
God also made our bodies to naturally produce cancer. Does that mean we shouldn't try and stop people from dying from cancer? Guys, cancer is a natural bodily process. Cancer basically develops when a cell multiplies, right? And begins over multiplying, and it begins consuming more and more resources to keep growing and growing and growing. It's like a runaway growth cycle of that particular type of cell. And that is a natural thing that happens in our bodies. It's a natural phenomenon. If we're supposed to embrace things on the basis of them being natural, then we should also just embrace cancer. Get rid of the cancer wards in hospitals. So you want to stop cancer, so by that logic, you want to stop God's will. Exactly, Spam Tana. Also, any person with nipples can breastfeed. This is true. You can get men to lactate. That is something that men can do under certain conditions. Trans women can also lactate. It's actually easier for trans women to lactate than it is for cisgender men. And so, this idea that God made our bodies to do X, Y, and Z. Well, yeah, but we've invented other things that help us do more than whatever, God may have intended while fashioning our forms,
His brain into the baby for bonding, the bonding and love hormone.
If God didn't want you to change your genitals, why did he invent circumcision? Look, if God didn't want us to be able to change our genitals or alter our hormone levels, he shouldn't have allowed us to make hormone replacement therapy, okay?
That is not by mistake. That isn't just a coincidence. That's what our bodies were made for. And telling women that they should be separated from that's last, and here's some birth control to stop your fertility cycle until you are ready after you've worked for someone else, you've made it to the top of whatever chain you're a part of.
I wonder how Kaitlyn Bennett would react if her husband invoked the ancient law in Numbers, whereby if you suspect that your wife has been unfaithful to you, you can have her drink the bitter pill, the bitter draught. And that essentially, what did I do? Okay. Essentially is an abortion potion. In the Bible, there are directions on how to and when to give your wife an abortion treatment if you suspect that they've been unfaithful to you. So, I don't know. How would she feel if her husband approached her and was like, hey, drink this bitter drink, and her child was aborted? That is a Christian idea, by the way. Yeah, it won't kill your wife if she didn't cheat on you.
Really important in life. It's not lowering our taxes and making as much money as you can for a career. Up and talk about them. Women are strong and they can be CEOs and they want to get
340. Oh man, bless you, Mint Kuro.
There's a hormone, oxytocin, that gets released into the mother's brain, into the baby for bonding, the bonding and love hormone. That is not by mistake. That isn't just a coincidence. That's what our bodies were made for. And telling women that they should be separated from that's last, and here's some birth control to stop your fertility cycle until you are ready after you've worked for someone else, you've made it to the top of whatever chain you're a part of. Now you have enough money to send someone else to watch your child while you go out and work. That's what conservatism is teaching, and I'm not all about that.
Damn. Hard-hitting facts from Gun Girl. Let's keep going. Let's see what else she got in store, okay? It's time for us to talk. Oh no, I don't want to...
My thoughts on the direction of the MAGA movement. I've been doing a lot of thinking lately, and there are some things that need to be addressed.
Yeah, I mean,
Hello everyone, it's been a while since I've seen you. You look great as ever. Now, it's no secret that I've been MIA for a little while, and I feel as though I owe you guys an explanation for why. Today, I want to get into half the reason why, and then my thoughts on where conservatism seems to be heading. And in a separate video, I'll tell you part 2 of where I've been, so be sure to hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on that video. Let's backtrack all the way to the beginning of the year, January to be exact. For those of you who remember, Liberty Hangout was demonetized on Facebook after big tech started coming down hard on pages that supported President Trump. While our monetization wasn't spared, our page thankfully survived.
Wait, how does one have a for-profit Facebook page? How does that work? I've never heard of anyone getting money from Facebook for running a Facebook page. Yeah, but even like if you're running a business page, it's not like it's directing traffic to your business. You don't make ad revenue. Facebook is the one that makes ad revenue. If you're running ads on Facebook, you pay Facebook for the ads. I don't think you get AdSense from Facebook though. I've never heard of anyone getting paid by Facebook for having a business page. You get monetized. I've never seen an ad on a Facebook video. All right, whatever.
The purge, but we became increasingly weary about what we were allowed to post now that we felt like our whole livelihood was at stake. We started noticing that other like-minded creators were getting censored left and right for talking about the BLM riots, the response to COVID-19, the 2020 election, and literally every single topic that conservatives wanted to...
Were they just talking about these topics, or were they like saying, dropping some N-word bombs,
talk about? Since I don't have the luxury of being sponsored by large organizations like PragerU or Turning Point USA, we had to play it safe if we wanted to survive. I am 100% independent and backed by you guys and you guys only. And the relationship you and I have built over the last 3 years isn't something I felt ready to abandon just to get a few thousand views on some clickbait video. So we took a backseat to politics and let the people funded by millionaires do the talking, and we would stick to some street interviews about less intense topics. And perhaps we played it too safe this year because we have taken way too long of a break, but nonetheless, here we still are. And over the course of my break, I have been able to dedicate a lot of time to new and exciting chapters in my life, which I wouldn't be able to share with you had I gotten myself banned from social media. The first and most important thing to happen during my break is that I stopped being an atheist and dedicated my life to Jesus Christ. I'm not even sure how many of you knew I was an atheist, but I'm sure it's rather shocking. This is why in my debates about abortion over the past 3 years, you have never heard me bring up religion. I want to make a separate video getting into the details about my conversion, but I've been spending an incredible amount of time learning, asking questions, saying sorry to God, and attending.
Yeah, I'm sure her on the street interviews about abortion would have really benefited from her bringing up religion.
Mass. I started the RCIA program to be confirmed into the Catholic Church next year, and I'm so excited to share more of that with you all as the journey progresses. The second thing that happened was that I asked myself what my absence from YouTube would mean to you guys watching, to politics in general, and to the country. I came up with nothing of value, and it really made me think, am I just making videos that have something to post? Yep. Am I even doing something genuine to my heart? No.
Did I waste all of your time? Yes. Do I honestly kind of hate myself a little bit? Yes.
Can I provide better, more meaningful content to the world? Yes, I can. It's hard to describe, but I feel that I
Was I trying very hard? No.
have more to offer you all through my content than just complaining about the news of the week like every single other political commentator on the internet. What good am I doing by telling you what you should be mad about this week? What good am I doing by showing you how mentally unstable college students are when I step onto their campus? We all know how deluded they've been for
College students, well known for being mentally deranged and uneducated.
years. Let's be honest. I guess what I'm trying to say is that I want to offer you guys something that brings me joy to create, something different that you can get from me that you can't get from the other dozens of conservative YouTubers. Now, I won't be stopping my pop quiz on the beach videos. I love the good-hearted nature of those. I won't even stop going to rallies when they eventually pop up again, but I want to create a new type of conservative content that leaves the viewer happy
on benzo speed. There you go.
Here after watching the video than when they clicked on the video. Something I've noticed ever since Joe Biden has become president is that in a lot of ways, the right now stands where the left did for the last 4 years. We are pessimistic, we are mad.
Cold, numb, dead. Yes. She regularly goes onto college campuses and just gets wrecked by college students who are like very matter of fact. Also, like, I don't know, guys. Like, you could maybe offer like policies that you think are good. You could maybe offer your audience things like, rather than, here's a thing to be mad about, you could be like, well, I believe X, Y, Z. Here are the policies we could use to pursue those goals. You could do things like that. You could like talk about constructive topics. You could maybe do like research streams to like back up your policy positions. You could make content that's actually like decent. But that would take work. That would take work.
We are discouraged about the future, and we have even become dominated by our emotions. Now, don't get me wrong, I do not think conservatives will get anywhere near as emotional as Democrats did in 2020. But I do see us trending down a path that we're better than, and I think we have so much more to offer our country than expletives and outrage. Something I was thrilled to discover this year is that your happiness should not depend on who is in the Oval Office. Your joy shouldn't come from a political party or the policies that they enact. Now, while we may need Trump to keep more of our money and our freedom,
you know, Republicans are very well known for not being emotional.
Just to make a note, Mr. Chairman, just because someone has a person of color, a black person working for them, does not mean they aren't racist. And it is insensitive that some would even say it's the fact that someone would actually use a prop, a black woman, in this chamber, in this committee, is alone racist in itself. Donald Trump is setting
Mr. Chairman, I ask that her words be taken down.
Chairman, I would like to...
Hold on.
I want the words read back.
No.
We want to know exactly what she
Excuse
said
me.
about a colleague.
Excuse me. Would you like to rephrase that statement, Ms. Ali?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I can actually read it from here. Just to make a note, Mr. Chairman, that just because someone has a person of color, a black person working for them, does not mean they are racist. And it is insensitive that someone would even say racist, say it is racist in itself, and to use a black woman as a prop to prove it otherwise. And I can submit this for the record. If a colleague is thinking that that's what I'm saying, I'm just saying that's what I believe to have happened. And if, as a person of color in this committee, that's how I felt at that moment, and I wanted to express that. But I am not calling the gentleman, Mr. Meadows, a racist for doing so. I'm saying that in itself, it is a racist act.
Well, I hope not, Mr. Chairman, because I need to be clear on this particular. Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Meadows, wait a minute.
I've defended you
Mr. Meadows,
with false accusations.
Mr. Meadows, I'm the chair.
Yes, sir, you are.
Thank you.
right.
I will clear this up. Now, Ms. Talib, I want to make sure I understand. You were not intending to call Mr. Meadows a racist, is that right?
No, Mr. Chairman, I do not call Mr. Meadows a racist.
No, Mr. Meadows.
Mr. Chairman, there's nothing more personal to me than my relationship. My nieces and nephews are people of color. Not many people know that. You know that, Mr. Chairman. And to indicate that I asked someone who is a personal friend of the Trump family, who has worked for him, who knows this particular individual, that she's coming in to be a prop, it's racist to suggest that I asked her to come in here for that reason.
Where? You implied that maybe I was racist? Well, boo.
We don't need Trump to be happy and in good spirits. The only thing we need for that is the love of God and the support of family. This is where I feel as though I differ from so many conservative creators out there. I have never centered my identity around politics, but about the things I genuinely believe in, and the
You know, there's not a difference between, like, politics and your individual ideas about how your individual ideas about how the world should work is representative of your politics.
bring me happiness. That's why I love sharing my wedding with you and the ways my husband and I are able to complete each other. And I don't say this to toot my own horn.
God, I don't want to hear about how you guys work together to find completion.
But because I truly wish everyone could be as happy as I am, and hyper-focusing on what to be outraged with just isn't the way to accomplish that. I will explain more in my next video, but I feel that coming to Jesus has allowed me to look at things from a brand new perspective. Nothing could ever happen against the will of God.
You know, there's a non-zero chance that Kaitlyn Bennett is going to claim that she had a immaculate conception.
So if Joe Biden is the man in the White House and the Democrats are destroying what's left of the country, then there must be a reason why a loving God would ask us to undergo these difficulties. And I found that the answer is right here on the cross. This right here is the image of true happiness, and this right here
This right here is the image of true happiness. Holds up a statuette of a man literally being fucking crucified for his religious beliefs. Also, just like I have to watch that again. I have to watch it again. My brain couldn't contain all of the cringe.
here is why undergo these difficulties. And I found that the answer is right here on the cross. This right here is the image of true happiness, and this right here is why we should not be fearful, outraged, or emotional over the things happening to the country. I've learned that hard times create opportunity for hope, because some of the greatest men to ever walk the earth, such as St. Peter and the apostles, would be completely unknown to us today if not for the hard times God asked them.
Notice how she's just doing the hard times create strong men trope. She's just doing the fascist trope.
To go through. We should feel blessed to be counted among some of the holiest men to live, because our names may one day be remembered for the virtues we choose to live by. No one remembers the man who executed St. Maximilian Kolbe, but millions of people have heard the sacrifice he made to give his life to save an innocent man in a German prison camp. We have so much more reason to be hopeful than discouraged. The Democrats can take away your money, they can try to take away your guns, and they can try to take away your freedom, but they can never take.
Yeah, famously, Jesus Christ was in favor of everyone being armed and killing in self-defense. remember when the Roman centurions marched upon his small encampment? He famously told all of his followers to pick up their swords and go and die for his cause. Oh wait, no, he actually was like, hey, put your sword down. Like, violence is bad, actually. Meanwhile, Kaitlyn Bennett's like, they can try to take your guns. Don't let them do it, though. That's not the Jesus way.
Away your spirit, your joy, or your eternal salvation. Why give them the power they crave over you? As my priest would say, your joy is not their authority to take, so why volunteer it over? We don't go to the grave with our money or our guns anyway. What we do go there with is our faith and our happiness. I could have spent the year making clickbait videos about this or that thing that the Biden administration is doing, or all the stupid things AOC has said, but I've gained something far greater than views, followers, or income this year, which I hope to now share with you.
Damn, it's true. You haven't gained any views. This video only has 94,000 views on a channel that has 626,000 subscribers. Jesus.
I ask that you guys stay with me as I navigate how to bring you the content you're here for, but with a new element added that glorifies Christ and leads more people to Him. I'll see you soon for part 2, and I can't wait to share my journey to Catholicism with you all.
Well, you know what? Let's learn. Let's learn about her journey to Catholicism. Let's do that, shall we?
A lot of you may be shocked to hear this, but for the last 3 years you've been watching my videos, I was an atheist. But that's not the case anymore, and I want to open up to you guys about my journey.
B-roll you got here. Amazing.
Being an atheist is not what most people think it is. At least it wasn't for me. Most of you probably think that people are atheists because they want to do whatever they want and have no consequences. If you don't believe in God, His commandments, sin, or hell, then you don't have to worry about living a sinful lifestyle or feeling guilty for your actions.
Yeah. You only feel guilty if you have a religion. You only have an ethical framework if you have religion. Yeah.
This was not the case for me. Everything
yes,
I'm about to tell you is, of course, from my own experience and my perspective.
This is Our Lady of Shat Pants, okay?
Being an atheist was one of the most terrifying things I ever put myself through, and I did it for more than a decade. Because I was so ignorant and uninformed, I feared what it would mean to go to hell. When I started doubting God and religion at around 12 years old, it came
just a reminder that hell isn't biblical.
From a place of disbelief at the stories in the Bible, and also being scared of hell and Satan. It was easier
just a reminder that Satan is also not a biblical thing.
For me to just reject it all if it meant not taking seriously the possibility of burning in hell or the reality of Satan. But that did not make
Satan is not real even within the Christian religion.
Make my fears of those two things go away. The most memorable fear I had was dying. The thought of my death terrified me. Did I really live?
I mean, Hikiko Corgi, I think it would matter a great deal to people who call themselves Christian. You know, like, for example, if you don't believe, like, that people are condemned to an eternal hell, or, like, don't believe that there's, like, spirits making people do bad things, then it, like, removes it places the culpability in the place where it should be, on people who are doing bad things. And also, it removes, like, a lot of the hatred of people, for example, like gays, I think. Just saying.
Just to be put in the ground. Is my whole existence going to end with worms eating my brain? And
Yes.
the worst part was thinking, what would my family endure after death? Would I really
I mean, I think a lot of Christians are sincere about their beliefs. The consistency of beliefs is something that varies quite widely. But I think a lot of people are sincere.
never see them again? Unknown to my 12-year-old brain, rejecting the goodness of God's light for the sake of trying to minimize my fears of hell would lead me to exacerbate my anxieties and fears surrounding this topic. You see, what would always occupy my mind was the question, what if I'm wrong? And that is an uncomfortable feeling to live with as a teenager and young adult. I firmly believe that anyone who proudly boasts their atheism is trying to convince themselves that they're right, not the people they're boasting to. And that comes from experience. Even though it scared me, I had always heard that if you reject God to your friends, then He will reject you from heaven. Well, I had already done that, so why would I stop? Unfortunately for me, I did not grasp the depth and beauty of what Jesus' death meant for people like me. I truly had no understanding whatsoever of His mercy, His sacrifice, and ultimately His forgiveness. Until now. When I would get mobbed on college campuses by hundreds of liberals, I would constantly have
Oh my god, please tell me her reason for converting to Catholicism is literally because she was like, I have been mobbed by people on college campuses, which makes me like Jesus. Please tell me that's the reason. Please.
Christian remarks hurled at me. The students would accuse me of being a Bible thumper, a stupid Christian, and you get the point. But when I would tell them I'm actually an atheist, they would be shocked and almost seem a little more accepting of me.
Mark that in the column of things that never happened.
One time, a guy actually backed off from berating me in a mob of 400 people when I shared that information about myself,
and then everyone clapped.
It did not make me feel good at all. How could I possibly align with people who treat others with no dignity? I was actually so embarrassed of myself that I would make sure those parts never made it into the final video that was released to you all. Even when I was an atheist, I always believed in right and wrong, and good and evil. One issue I've always been very passionate about is that I'm anti-abortion. I've always recognized that every human life is sacred, but could not justify my position without God. It seems so obvious to me that some actions in this world are...
Maybe that's an indication, though, that, like, you shouldn't have the right to force your reasoning about it on other people if you can't make a rational argument for it without the basis of your religion, you know? Like, you know there are other people on the planet who don't believe in a god, or they believe in a different god, or many different gods, or different conceptions of, like, how one should treat pregnancies. So, like, the idea that you should be able to force your individual idea of God on everyone else is a bit absurd. A bit absurd in the extreme.
Are blatantly evil, but how could I say this if there was nothing in the universe to decide what's absolutely right and wrong? If, in the end, nothing matters, then why would it matter right now? I battled with those feelings internally, wondering if I truly believe there's no God, why do I feel so ashamed for saying it out loud? It's because the truth about God, Jesus, and our creation is written on our hearts for us to search for Him and ultimately end up finding the truth that is so apparent if you just seek it. I'm sure many of you are asking what made me convert.
By the way, I'm sure she is also, like, very anti-FAP, Avery Lilius. Like, I'm sure, like, you know, maybe she's like, I don't know. She's probably working on like a collab with John Doyle right now about how fapping is actually committing genocides. Remember, chat. Anytime you come, you are perpetrating just a massive genocide of human material. Okay. Any of your big stringy loads, those are small genocides if they're not, each sperm isn't impregnating an egg. Okay. And you people with wombs out there, every time you're menstruating, that's another baby not getting made. Okay. To jail with you. Every time you masturbate, to jail with you. Lucky
I'm sure you can guess that the answer isn't that I had a magical experience that just changed my mind one day and I've been blessed ever since. Instead, it started years ago with my incredibly devout Catholic husband. We married in the Catholic Church in 2020 because he wanted to make sure our marital vows were sealed by Christ and fulfilled through the sacrament of holy matrimony. I had no idea how important that was back then, but I'm so thankful today that he ensured that happened. Over the next year, I would continue to reject religion altogether until he asked me to attend Mass with him for probably the 500th time, and I begrudgingly agreed. Now, if you've ever been to a Catholic Mass, you might understand what I mean when I say I had a lot of questions about the faith and the traditions of Catholicism, so I started asking them. Then I would ask the same questions to many of my non-Catholic and even non-Christian friends. For months, I would just ask an incredible amount of questions and realized I literally knew nothing about Christianity. Of course, I rejected it for years. How could I accept something that I didn't realize I knew nothing about? The more I learned about the truth, the more the lens that I saw the world through changed. One of the defining moments where I realized I was wrong was learning that pride was the worst of the 7 deadly sins.
What did you learn about, like, you know, I think as part of like your introduction to the Catholic Church, you should be required to learn about the Borgia family. Okay? I think you should be required to learn about that before joining the Catholic Church. And I think also you should be able and required to go through all of the files on child abuse that they've concealed for 70 years. Because as a reminder, chat, in France alone, over the past 70 years, over 330,000 children have been abused by priests within the Catholic Church. Just as a reminder, just in France.
Pride Month has always been toxic, predatory, and perverted, even from a secular point of view.
Oh, okay. Pride. Okay, here comes the homophobia. I think she's confusing the sin of pride with like having pride in your identity.
It is not a coincidence that a lifestyle ingrained in depression, suicide, sinful behavior, and regret is given the title of the most deadly sin and then forced down our throats by every major corporation and social media platform and then targeted to child audiences. That doesn't happen by coincidence. Now, I'm sure you all want me to get to the story of what was the turning point in my life that really brought me to where I am. Right after we renewed our wedding vows in St. Augustine earlier this year, we arrived home to find my 5-year-old kitty, Halsey, acting...
Wait, why did you renew your vows the year after you got married?
...strange and throwing up. Long story short, Halsey ended up in the emergency room for an entire week with a suspected diagnosis of cancer. You can imagine how I took this news considering how much I love my cat. I went into a state of such sadness, hopelessness, and anxiety that I actually developed a skin condition that was lurking in my DNA, waiting to be triggered by a traumatic event.
What?
During this time, Justin offered to pray with me for Halsey to return home to us, so I did. Praying to Saint Francis of Assisi, who is the patron saint of animals, was the only thing that brought...
Yeah, look, we believe in an omnipotent God, but we also believe that that God needs other entities to intercede with him on our behalf, okay?
Brought me peace. It was the only time of day that I felt that no matter what ended up happening, I would be all right. Only when praying was I
God invented paperwork specifically to spite the saints.
Able to calm my anxieties. It also helped me ask more questions about how prayer works, how you're supposed to pray, and what you're supposed to expect from God when he answers your prayers. I do admit I feel a little vulnerable sharing this with you all because I know it sounds silly to be brought to my knees in prayer over my cat when there are several other issues in this world that I should have been praying for all along.
Only several other issues?
That do seem much more important than my cat getting sick. However, this must have been the journey I was meant to take, and I can't regret the path that brought me to where I am today. And evidently, our prayers for Halsey worked. We were able to...
Thank God she didn't pray for all of the gays to die in a storm of salt and hellfire, because holy shit, that prayer worked. What if she had used her one working prayer on that instead of her cat? We really dodged a bullet, fellow queers.
To bring her home and get our crazy-eyed girl back with us with absolutely no answers as to what made her so sick. All I know is that my husband has been praying for years for my conversion and an opportunity for me to see Christ in action, and that may have been exactly what happened. After falling on my knees in prayer in such a dark time, I now fall on my knees in prayer when I am overly joyful and thankful for the blessings I have today, which of course includes my Halsey girl. I'd like to give you some advice from a former atheist, specifically on how to raise your children to not end up like me. It starts by praying together every day.
You know, it's funny. It's funny because if I recall correctly, Halsey is a non-binary person who uses they them pronouns and is also bisexual. I don't know, just an observation.
As a family and making sure Christ is put first in your household, creating traditions that last for decades into their adult lives and eventually...
That wasn't even Christ. That was some random old man.
Creating traditions that last for decades into their adult lives and eventually into their own families ensures they never have to go to bed with anxieties about their eternal life. I wish I
assume that's what the cat is named after. That the cat is named after Halsey. Was that a pope? I mean, probably.
I discovered the truth earlier in my life, but I am humbled to know that even a sinner like me was never forgotten by God. In the months since, I decided to commit my life fully to Christ and am currently going through RCIA to convert to Catholicism. Some of you may be wondering, why the Catholic faith and not just Christian or non-denominational? In the beginning of this video, I mentioned that I asked several different types of Christians
Palpatine has returned somehow.
And non-Christians the same questions. The only answers that made sense were from the Catholic perspective. It is the only faith that can answer questions about the origins of the universe, the compatibility between faith and science, the way God reveals himself to mankind, the meaning behind sacred scripture, and the way in which he communicates his spirit to us sacramentally today. And the greatest thing is that it traces all the way back to Christ himself through a clear succession of the apostles, so that we can be 100% confident that we are receiving the same Jesus as Peter and Paul 2,000 years ago.
No, actually, we can't be. Also, so just as a quick reminder, chat, even if you take the Bible at face value on this, the apostles were fallible. They made mistakes, and they continued making mistakes after Jesus died, because they were fucking human beings. And if you accept that, then you also have to accept that well, the popes are also going to screw up. And like the idea of a universal religion, but like somehow the popes are like more better than you. I think that's a weird one for a religion that's supposed to apply to all people equally. Yeah, I think this is a weird take.
In exactly the same manner that he intended. As my priest would say, the other versions of Christianity that broke off from Catholicism failed to trace themselves back to more than a couple hundred years and failed to answer life's most important question.
I mean, Catholicism also had a lot of issues. Hey, Vacation Wolf, thank you for gifting a sub to Draco Wrath. We covered this just the other day, chat. We covered some of the early Christian schisms. There are other versions of old Christianity before the Catholicism coalesced. The idea that that's the only real version of Christianity is a false idea. Let's see. Also, just as an FYI, guys, even just like a brief Google of like Borgia Pope, you find Pope Alexander VI. Pope Alexander VI had a child with his daughter. Yeah, we're really getting the unadulterated word of God through the popes on that one. Very, very infallible, those guys.
When I'm seeking information, I want the full answer. I want to know as much as I can. I want the proof to back it up. And when it comes to Jesus Christ, I want to receive him fully. None other than Christ's one holy Catholic and Apostolic Church built on his rock Peter offered that to me. And none other than the Catholic faith gave proper...
I do have to say, props to Christians for using the gayest terminology possible, okay? You know, Jesus's rock was Peter. Peter was always there for Jesus, except that one time, but we don't talk about that anymore. Or like, I'm going to receive Christ fully. Like, yo, ayo. Hi, I'm sad today. Oh, Moro, thank you for the 100 bits, and I'm sorry that you're sad today. Remember to always respect each other. You never know when someone in your life might be hurting because of things you are saying or doing. True. Yeah, god damn it, Peter. The one time.
Proper respect to Jesus' mother, Mary, who said yes to Christ before anyone else.
Did Mary have a say in this? I don't recall I don't recall Jesus's mom being like called by God and being like, "Hey, are you okay if I put a baby in you?" Did she consent? Okay. I thought she just got pregnant immaculately. She did consent when talking to an angel. I mean, that's good. That's good. Oh, papal infallibility. Papal infallibility is mainly applied to certain truths. That seems convenient.
To all of these things, I married my husband because I trust him. I trust him to be loyal to me. I trust him to love me, to protect me, but most importantly, to guide me as the man of the house. I fully trust that his love for me would never have him leading me down a path that wasn't the very best for my eternal life. I urge you to attend a Catholic Mass, ask the parishioners questions, and immerse yourself in the history and tradition of the church, which is the only...
Yeah, there are probably very troubling consent dynamics in play when a terrifying wheel of flame comes down from heaven and is like, God has chosen you, my dear child. Will you receive his blessing? Like, I feel like there are troubling power dynamics at play with like the sixth dimensional eldritch being and a human woman
that dates back to the foundations built by Christ himself. Then you'll understand for yourself. Thank you all for being so incredibly patient with me as I have stepped away.
Okay. Some of you might recall we covered the Larry Nassar sex abuse scandal not too long ago, right? Where Larry Nassar victimized hundreds of young girls and molested them, okay? Now, imagine you're Kaitlyn Bennett and you're someone who is like, hello, I think that women should have rights and that, they should be able to succeed, but also they should be told to have babies. And then you go on to make a video about how a child sex abuse victim is evil. Well, Kaitlyn Bennett decided to do that, and she made a video called Simone Biles is Evil. And Simone Biles being one of Larry Nassar's victims. So let's take a look.
Once upon a time, athletes that grew up in poverty or broken households were role models to children in similar circumstances. But to one prominent Olympian, she thinks children in the same shoes as she once was are literally better off dead. This is Simone Biles. Have you heard of her? Well, if not, she's famous for flipping around in the Olympics, but the ratings were so terrible.
This is slightly before she converted.
That I don't blame you if you had no idea who she was. Apparently, it's not good for business to convince a generation of athletes to think they're activists. Anyway, though, Miss Biles is just so famous now that she had to let everyone know that—
Yeah, I wouldn't blame you if you hadn't heard of her. A legendary Olympian with 4 gold medals in gymnastics, a silver medal, and 2 bronze medals. Literally one of the top competing gymnasts in the world.
that she's not just a talented gymnast, but she also has a knack for baby murder. We live in a time where every person has a device in their pockets that hold infinite knowledge for free about anything at all, and yet we still have people defending and promoting the dismemberment, poisoning, and killing of tiny humans because the TV told them to. Simone Biles shared this very intellectual post on Instagram the other day, coming out as pro-abortion. It says, quote, "I already know this is going to start the biggest argument and may even lose followers, but I'm very much pro-choice. Your body, your choice. Also, for everyone gonna say, just put it up for adoption, eye roll emoji, eye roll emoji. It's not that easy, and coming from someone who was in the foster care system, trust me, foster care system is broken and it's tough, especially on the kids and young adults who age out, and adoption is expensive. I'm just saying, ... and don't even come at me if you couldn't keep a mask on or refuse to wear one."
Hey, let's pause on this for a second. So, yeah. First of all, very based Simone Biles. Second of all, giving birth takes a physical toll on your body. And like, I'm not here to body shame, okay? I'm just here to point out that it takes a very visible toll on your body, all right? Here, wait. Is this it? Oh, I guess I closed the video.
They're not giving.
these are two videos 4 months apart. She looks pretty different. She looks pretty different in these two videos. It takes a physical toll on your body to give birth. Holy shit, Moro! Thank you for the 20 tier 1 subs. Yo, thank you so much. And I guess we are done with this video. I will finish making my point though. I'll take her off the screen though, while I do it. Yes, every one of you, thank Moro for us getting through this video, okay? Because that was going to be about 10 minutes longer, all right? That was going to be a 10-minute longer video. But like, yeah, it's your body. And when you go through the process of being pregnant and giving birth, it can and often does permanently damage your body. And if you don't want your body to be damaged, I think that is a perfectly valid and reasonable decision to make. Additionally, you are running the risk of dying. Any kind of surgery you get in America comes with a risk of death, okay? Any kind of surgery, all right? But giving birth is also a very deadly type of procedure. In fact, it is an incredibly invasive procedure to, shove a living being out of your body. And it's just like, yeah, that should, whether or not you want your body to undergo that should be your choice, okay? Absolutely. My mom got and developed diabetes from the birth of my younger brother. Yeah, exactly. You can, I believe my mom developed diabetes after having me. So like, yeah. My ex's mom has to cross her legs every time she sneezes due to complications with birth that causes her to pee herself when she coughs and sneezes. Yo, that's wild. Did you see that women have a higher problem rate than men when the surgeon is male? I did not see that. But also, if you are non-white in America, your risk of like dying while giving birth goes up quite a bit. Like if you're an African American giving birth in America, your risk of death is higher than a lot of other developed countries. When we look at like, and same with other minority groups as well. So like, yeah, you should have the right to say you don't want to take on that risk. Whether or not you had sex, having sex is not the same as consenting to have a child. And this is, for some reason, people really struggle with this idea. Like if you have sex, you are consenting to have a child. No, you're not. Cut to xenomorphs protesting outside of Planned Parenthood. And Moro, what an absolute goddamn hero. Thank you so much on my behalf and on behalf of all of us who didn't want to cover Kaitlyn Bennett content. Thank you very much for that.